I were to tell you that in the late 2000s, retired filmmaker George Lucas completely self-financed an animated TV series that was like Star Wars, but very funny and filled with jokes that would make you laugh? Well, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, this thing cannot exist. I would have heard of it by now. But what if I were to additionally tell you that after stealing Lucasfilm and leaving behind only a few measly $1 billion, Disney took that fully completed animated series and placed it on a shelf where it has remained to this day, almost a decade later. What a strange story, but true! I am Watto, and this is the odd tale of Star Wars Detours.
In June of 2009, George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, announced that a new Star Wars animated series was in development. With no new films on the schedule, there was an opportunity to do something different with the franchise, something less substantial than the burden of charting the narrative course of the multi-billion-dollar franchise, I assume, not after all the flack he got for the prequels. Star Wars fandom, he had observed, were pretty serious about the happenings of his galaxy far, far away and the presentation thereof. Not that he wasn't serious, but you know, there are degrees. Might not be a bad idea to let everyone chill for a while, let off some steam, and have a different kind of fun with the characters he had created. 2 years earlier, in 2007, Lucas gave his blessing for official 30th anniversary parody tributes released by the creators of Robot Chicken and Family Guy. George liked them, and he came up with a brilliant plan. Instead of watching those goofballs create their thing over there, and us doing our thing over here, let's hire those goofballs to be our goofballs, and they can make their thing here as our thing. I'm paraphrasing, of course. This conversation probably took place over several weeks and involved lawyers and contracts, but I'm positive the essence of that description of the transaction is sound. Lucas's working series title was Star Wars Squishies, co-opting terminology used in the animation industry for a fundamental principle wherein characters and objects have exaggerated physical dynamics when in motion. They stretch and squish. Producers Seth Green and Matthew Senreich put together a team of writers, and they got to work. The head writer was Brendan Hay, and he was joined by Dan Milano, Tom Root, Zeb Wells, Doug Goldstein, Breckin Meyer, Kevin Shinnick, and others, all of whom had written and/or directed full episodes for Robot Chicken and other TV series like The Simpsons, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, SpongeBob SquarePants, and The Daily Show. Lucas himself worked with the writers on the big and small points of the Star Wars universe. He even offered suggestions for scenes, characters, and moments that might be funny. He was an active voice in bringing the parody universe to life as a part of Star Wars. The series was set between the end of the prequel trilogy and the beginning of the original trilogy, an era wide open for storytelling even if it wasn't canon, and allowing for popular characters from both eras that existed at the time. Voice talent included original Star Wars actors like Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, Ahmed Best as Jar Jar, and Billy D. Williams as Lando. Other notables included Seth Green, Donald Faison, Zachary Levi, Joel McHale, Weird Al Yankovic, Felicia Day, and of course, Seth MacFarlane as Emperor Palpatine.
Detours! You ready? Punch it! Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
No, I left a message with your roommate, but your machine was full, so your landlord hung up on me when I was walking your dog because my homework ate it.
I got dressed for this?
Half dressed.
Put some pants on, man.
Hey, so, how's my nose look?
Oh!
Detours!
Star Wars Squishies became Star Wars Detours, and a full 39 episodes were completed with an additional 62 scripts ready to go. It was officially announced at Star Wars Celebration 6 in 2012. However, George found himself reconsidering his future as an active participant, as the active participant in Star Wars. George was thinking about retirement, as much as he had insisted throughout his life that there would never be a sequel trilogy, and that if there was, he certainly wasn't going to let other directors direct it. Time and $4 billion has a way of changing things. By 2012, George was already having conversations about selling Star Wars to Disney and transitioning his responsibilities to Kathleen Kennedy, partially at first, but within a year, entirely. He was ready to retire, but before he did, he needed to make sure that everything was set up for the future of the franchise. He needed to make sure that when Disney bought the franchise, they would be in the best position to introduce Star Wars to the next generation of fans their way. He realized that the next generation's first exposure to Star Wars probably shouldn't be through a parody cartoon. He knew that this decision was going to have to come from the top. George Lucas was going to have to stop George Lucas from releasing it. $4 billion, and 1 year later, in 2013, Lucasfilm, now under the ownership of Disney, officially postponed the release of Star Wars Detours. Disney was already in production on the sequel trilogy and planning out a slate of projects for the next decade. Everything that existed prior was it canon? No. As of 2014, technically, other than the 6 films in the Clone Wars animated series and film that existed at the time, none of the previously existing Star Wars materials were considered canon anymore. And while Detours was never intended to be canon anyway, it also wasn't going to be part of the library. Because everything had to be cleared out of the way for the release of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens in December of 2015. Everything moving forward would be related to Disney's original productions, and that is where Star Wars Detours remains, despite a very potentially encouraging sign of a release when Lucasfilm filed for a new trademark of the series in 2018.
Oh, Disney, please, we are stuck at home and running out of content. You can release all 39 episodes of Star Wars Detours with the push of a button. Please put it up on Disney Plus for the love of George.
That said, in 2019, Detours executive producer Seth Green, in an interview with Collider, said, quote, "It's still pretty status quo. My understanding is that the Lucasfilm plan is rooted in new movies and expansive television for the Disney Plus platform, and it doesn't seem right now that they're pursuing this kind of comedy. It's a tough thing because the show was created before the sale to Disney, before the plan to make new movies, before the plan to develop a theme park environment, before the concept of a subscription streaming service that housed several offshoots, including an Obi-Wan show or a Mandalorian show. It's like all of that came post us making those 40 episodes, and so I guess I really don't know. I think there would have to be such a clear and vocal fan demand to make anybody want to shift their plan, because right now it doesn't seem like the company plan includes this kind of deconstructive comedy coexisting with these sincere interpretations of the characters." End quote. Look, it's not like Star Wars Detours is the only piece of Star Wars media that was never released. There are books, comics, action figures, video games, TV series. A globally popular media franchise that has lasted over 40 years is going to have a few projects that don't make it all the way through the system. Disney owns it, all of it. If they wanted to release it, they could, today, right now. And the likelihood that it gets released at some point in the future is at least 50-50. Disney Plus is a voracious beast that needs constant content. They can't just sit and wait for the next season of The Mandalorian. And the fans know about it. They were ready for it. There's an active campaign going on right now to compel Disney to add it to their library of content on Disney Plus.
We live in a time of great political turmoil, but few causes matter more than convincing Disney to release the original 39 episodes of Star Wars Detours. Tweet at Disney Plus. Hashtag May Detours be with you.
The fact that Star Wars Detours was a Star Wars animated series isn't unique. The fact that an entire season is complete isn't what makes it special. Judging by the few clips available online, it's hard to say if it's even really good or even relevant anymore. If you like Robot Chicken, Family Guy, and Star Wars, it's probably right up your alley. But existing as one of the last things that George Lucas himself created as a part of Star Wars before he sold the decision-making power to Disney, having been the person to make the decision to not release that thing he created, to purposefully sacrifice his work and the work of the teams that he enlisted to create it, that's truly surprising and tragically odd. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much to Griffin Newman for appearing as Watto. Please check out his podcast, The Blank Check Podcast, and as of this video, for the next few weeks at least, you can catch him every Sunday on the George Lucas Talk Show on the Planet Scum Live Twitch channel. Currently watching all the episodes of our list. Link in the description below. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy or become a YouTube channel member. Both Patreon and YouTube channel membership have the same exclusive content, so choose your own adventure. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below if you're ready to lighten up like a fuzzball while watching a Star Wars product, if you're ready for an Emperor Palpatine that sounds like half the characters in Family Guy and American Dad, if you're ready for the humoric stylings of the last decade. Perfectly natural. Nailed it.